What's up, Bleach fans? We are officially back with more Bleach 1,000-Year Blood War Arc. Yay! Woo! Yay! Season 3, Core 3, whatever you want to call it. Once again, I'm excited. I'm a huge Bleach fan. It's one of my favorite mangas of all time. And this particular episode, we do recap a little bit, or quite a bit, of episode 26, the last episode of Season 2, or Core 2. There, halfway through the fight between Ichibei and Yhwach. So, 67, though, is now officially, basically, yeah, it's covered. We're moving on to Volume 68. So this only, once again, means a good thing, because it means a lot more added scenes are likely. If we were just to do it page by page, panel by panel from the volumes, this season could mostly cover almost the entirety of the rest of Bleach. But that means if there's there's supposedly a Core 4, we got a lot of great animation ahead of us, which we already found in this episode, but also added scenes, things, filler scenes, if you will, things that we wanted as fans, and things that Kubo, unfortunately, due to health reasons, just wasn't able to include before Shueisha did it in the whole thing. So, that being said, though, right out of the gate, I'm very happy that Bleach is back, as we all are super happy that Bleach is back, right? The thing is, we have a new opening. We have a new ending. We even had a special promo that, just for me, it's like so many people already are calling for. They said, hey, you can give us this. Give us Soul Society in this quality. Redo the whole thing and just give it to us again. We will eat that shit up. We will love it. And once again, as someone who affectionately likes to keep things traditional, original. I don't like remakes at the best of times. I understand why. But Bleach was not a bad dub. It was not a bad anime, and it was not badly animated, the first run. Yes, of course, this movie-level industry quality that 1,000-Year Blood War Arc has been given is phenomenal, and I'm so happy that it's been given this treatment. But, once again, there was actually nothing wrong with the anime quality of Bleach back in the day either. So, you know, though I would love to see it, I'd probably be there for it. You know, to me, I was just happy to see these, like, quick little promos, these little commercials, these little, here's something for you, the fans. It's a little bit of fan service. And as a fan, I'm happy to receive it. So, there was that. The opening and ending, I really like the new opening. I like the new opening. The song, I had to listen to it a couple of times. It was a little bit of a slow start. It started to hit, and I feel like the crescendo isn't quite there for me. But overall, solid opening, especially with the visuals. The visuals are quite fantastic. So I definitely enjoyed the visuals for that one. The ending song is too much of a mishmap for me. Not a huge fan of the song, but once again, it's a first viewing. I only listened to it twice. So maybe with more viewings, because I'm not the type of person who says skip intro, skip ending, you know what I mean? I'm the type of person who actually watches all 27 minutes of something, you know what I mean? Because somebody put their time into that. Whether the animation, whether the credits, whether the song, somebody put time and effort into that, and it should be seen and appreciated, right? So, anyways, that being said, yeah, the opening is quite fire, both animation and song. Is it my favorite? No, that'll always go to the opening of the second opening of Bleach. That's always been my favorite, my go-to. It's my favorite one. But this is absolutely solid, and I do really like this opening. It might be my favorite of the 1,000-Year Blood War Arc openings. I'll give you that much. It might be that. But yeah, so what did we cover here in this particular episode? Well, as I said, the first, 5-10 minutes, half the episode is basically recap. We're showcasing, we see a couple of small little new scenes, but for the most part, it's basically a recap, getting us all the way to go and fall, Black Ant, boom, and Ichibei is just dominating it. It's like, okay, cool. Plus, along with Shinjimaru's Bankai. Now, okay. There is a problem for me. It's not really a problem because we're not going to completely change everything that happened in the manga, are we? No. What Kubo decided to do, or, the direction he decided to take was, you know what? Squad Zero was done really dirty. I want to showcase that they were fighting. Like, they did push the strongest of the Stern Ritters. They pushed them, and they pushed them hard. And the anime did show that there at the end of Core 2. Now, here at the beginning of Core 3, we get the full explanation. Once again, it was at the end of Core 2, but yada yada yada, that the Bankai. How does the Bankai work? Because none of the Squad Zero members ended up using their bloody Bankai, other than, of course, Ichibei, and he was against the most broken ability in fiction. So, does that count? I don't know. Anyways, so what I like about this is nonetheless gorgeously animated. And we see the Bankais. The Bankais are recognized. They're even recognized by Ichigo and the main cast in the missile silo going upwards, sensing that immediately they're like, what is that? And Ganju, thankfully, is giving us a bit of a lowdown on what normal people would feel. It's like, because he's been around, captain level Bankais for a long time. He knows what they feel like. And they're like, whoa, what is that feeling? All three worlds are shaking right now when Senjumaru says Bankai. And it's like, whoa. So power scaling wise, and there's two explanations for this. One from, once again, Ganju in the silo, where it says, yeah, Yoruichi and Ichigo are the only ones to recognize that's Senjumaru's spiritual pressure. That must be her Bankai. And he's like, wait, I've felt Bankais before. Captain level Bankais. That shit's on a whole nother level. And it's like, yeah. And Ichigo's like, I know, right? Squad Zero's kind of the GOAT, right? And so that's basically how that explanation goes. It's like, okay, these Bankais are literally the best. They might not be the best of the best, but they are so well trained, they're so old, that they're on another level. They've peaked. This is the epitome of the power you can reach as a Soul Reaper sort of idea, right? Squad Zero members are right up here. And I like that. And then Senjumaru says the same thing. It's like, we are too powerful. And I'm like, yeah, but you're about to lose. So come on, draw it back a little bit. And she basically says that, and once again, I forget if this explanation was at the end of Season 2, but I'm going over it again here in Season 3, is she basically says, okay, so we are too strong. All our Bankais are too powerful. We are too powerful. So what we did to make sure there's harmony between the three planes of existence, the three worlds, which, once again, the Quincy's don't give a shit about. That's Yuha's whole thing. So he can just, blazingly use his power and the Stern Ritter's power regardless of what happens. They're trying to maintain a balance. They don't want to fracture or hurt the balance between the three worlds or, permanently damage, irrevocably damage the binds between the three worlds or the three worlds themselves. So, as a result, and it's showcased beautifully, we see it all, that they said, alright, none of us can use Bankai without 3 out of 4 of us taking our lives. No, 2 of us will never use our Bankai ever again. 3 of us must die, 1 of you can have your Bankai back, pretty much. We hid away our true swords, as she puts it. And is this Bankai pretty broken? Yeah, if it weren't for Uryu, which is a big change from Volume 67, which I love, is that she catches up. Not only did they battle fair and square against everyone without using Bankais, against the strongest Valkyrie, against the strongest Stern Ritters. Gerald Valkyrie was there, Askin was there, all them, against all the Quincy's, against the top tier, the Royal Guard. This Royal Guard was doing quite well. And to know that they weren't even going all out, that's crazy. Because they can't. Because they actually give a shit. So they're sort of handicapped. My big problem with that is the fact that this means that there was potential for, because we have to, once again, we can't go against the entire script of the manga. We can't redo the whole thing. And I don't think Kubo would want to anyways, because we're trying to show the domineering and the dominance of Yuha and his Royal Guard at this point. Because Uryu was caught up in this Bankai, he's realistically the reason they all survived, plus, of course, Yuha waking up and opening his eyes at that point. pretty much had the Royal Guard fought 5 minutes later, like, depending on which way you want to look at it. Was it because, did Senjumaru, like, literally win, and it was because Yuha woke up was the only reason that Uryu was able to use, the antithesis? That's sort of implied here, because we didn't know about that at this point, because we didn't even know the antithesis existed at this point. We just learned about the Almighty. But we're also showcased that it's fighting against Uryu a little bit, or he's fighting against it. It's sort of corrupting, and he's not allowing it to fully take control, because it seems to be an out-of-control power, similar to what Hashwall talks about the Almighty. Like, if he had not waited the 9 years, his power would have gone out of control. He even wouldn't control it, so he had to wait, being Yuha. So there's a couple ways to take this, and either way, it's either coincidental as hell, which is fine, because at least we got to see the Bankai, and the explanation why the other 3 Zero members didn't use their Bankais to probably devastating and great effect was because they gave a shit. They're handicapped. You can argue whether that's good writing, whether that's stupid, what have you, but at least it's an explanation onto how Squad Zero lost so easily. And I kind of like this particular one. It's not that Uryu had the antithesis and managed to reverse the Bankai on Senjumaru, which, I mean, yeah, I suppose, but was a Bankai really? Like, we never really see the antithesis work against the owner's sword. Like, would Zangetsu turn against Ichigo even with antithesis? Maybe not. I'm kind of on the fence about that one, because we never seen in that regard. But that being said, we have seen the Bankais stolen and then used against them. So, sure, fine dandy. Antithesis will work against a Bankai. And it does, and it switches her, and then Uryu kills her. The only reason that takes place, I like to think, is because Yuha woke up. Senjumaru's Bankai did work against all of them, sealing up Askin, in sort of a, spiked fortress. That's going to work. Burying Pranida, that's going to work. Freezing Jar Valkyrie, that's going to work. Like, the answers to all of their problems literally did work. Like, this Bankai was devastating. It worked quite well against most of them, right? Even Lilibao, he shot himself. The X-axis can't miss, and he shoots himself. It's like, okay then, that'll work. His own bullets, or his own Reishi bullets, whatever you want to call them, will hurt him. He's not invulnerable to his own attack either. So, there you go. So I really like this as an aspect. I like the animation. I like that, they had to basically go down, and Senjumaru, pretty much, Zero Squad did win against the Royal Guard, for all intents and purposes. Either the antithesis was going to wake up anyways, or it was coincidence that Yuha opened his eyes, and that awoke the antithesis, or woke up the Stern Ritters trapped in the Bankai again, and they got a second shot. I like the latter of these two. I like the idea that, no, Senjumaru won, they all basically lost, and if Yuha had been defeated by Ichibei, the Royal Guard wasn't getting out. That Bankai is that great. Like, those Bankai rules, the Bankai is that awesome, it is that powerful, and it did defeat most of the Royal Guard quite handily, right? The only issue I, once again, have with that is that means that there are 3 other Bankais from Zero Squad members that may have proven effective after Senjumaru lost, had they said, okay, once again, it's the overconfidence of the Zero Squad. It's the overconfidence of Ichibei, right? That they didn't think, okay, we took this blood oath literally because we're too goddamn good. But these guys are going to come in, they're going to be really broken, and, it's like the Jedi Council sort of idea, right? Their arrogance, and their hubris was their undoing. Had they said, okay, listen, the Blood Seal was a great idea at the time, but we need all hands on deck, because even Ichibei unleashes his Bankai right away, and he even says, I'm about to steal 100 knights from the Soul Society, just to make this shit happen, to make sure Yuha dies. And he does so in this episode. So when push came to shove, they were willing to do that. I just sort of wish that we had an opportunity to see what the other Bankais were capable of and how those matchups would have went. Because I have the firm belief now that without Yuha waking up or opening his eyes, the Zero Squad beats the Royal Guard. And in their hubris, which is part of Squad Zero's sort of downfall. That's their con. That's their epithet. That's part of what makes them three-dimensional, is that they never would have conceived that they would ever need to break the blood seal, and all four of them would ever need to use their bankais. You know what I mean? Like, they would never conceive of that even being a possibility, hence their own arrogance and why they fell. I don't mind that as a storytelling beat. I just really wanted to see some of the other bankais. I'm just greedy like that, right? So I do like how they played this off. The Zero Squad is handicapped by their own hubris, and that's why they lost. And it's written so much better, and I think Kubo would have done so had he had more time in the 1,000-Year Blood War arc. He did, so I really enjoyed that aspect. As I said, so that covers all of the Uryu uses the antithesis, it wakes up. We get the idea, once again, because we didn't get this in the volume, that he's either fighting against it or it's going out of control, or it's something that he's fighting against. He doesn't want to be a puppet of Yuha. The power of, A, or Stern Ritter powers and stuff, he gets his wings and sort of idea, and he tries to control them, but they're sort of cackling, they're sort of out of control sort of idea, and he's trying to bring them into fold, brings them back down and stuff, and we see the little glitches with his eyes and the the blood veins and stuff. Senjumaru even brings it up and says, it's that blood you inherited from him, that blue blood you inherited. It's crying out, sort of idea, right? So we cover all that. Uryu ends up saving the Royal Guard, and we go forward. I like all this. It's handled much better than the manga. Then we continue the fight that pretty much goes beat for beat from Volume 67, the end of the fight with Yuha against Ichibe. And fantastic. Handled so well. The deep by emotion I sing for the black that I steal. I drink a cup of night, and he's got that reverb in his voice. He's got that very deep. Ooh. It reminds me a lot of a couple of times that I've heard monks doing their prayer in like a Buddhist temple or a Shinto temple, and just the Ayazade, and it's like, this sounds great. This is fantastic. I didn't get this feeling. Like, we saw him do the movements and spawn the the sake cup and stuff with the stealing the black from the world idea, but this process and then the animation change with the all black and white with the red outlines on everything, that 3D animation of the skulls and the graves, that final attack. Oh, it was so good. It was so good. It was 11 out of 10. It was crisp. It was clean. It was everything I wanted to happen for that. And it was just like, okay. And then Yuha, of course, overpowers everything. The guards go, yada, yada, yada. They bow, and he's walking up the steps. Beautifully animated once again. And then we get the ending credits pretty much, right? Because he's going up to Riro. And he goes up to kill the Soul King. Ichibe, of course, is killed here. The Zero Squad has fallen, yada yada yada, but there is power in names, as we know, and this has been way back since the beginning of the series. Even the fact that Renji brought this up at the very first arc and said at the end of the very first arc, the Substitute Shinigami arc, he said, you don't know your Zanpakuto's name, you're not strong enough, like, you're useless, you're no good. Not knowing your Zanpakuto's name makes you an amateur. Like, names have weight. Names have power and strength. Zangetsu then brings it up at the beginning of this training arc into the Soul Society arc and stuff. And even that whole thing that Kubo sort of... I imagine he didn't come up with this way back then. But maybe he had an inkling of it or something like that. I'll give him credit where credit is due. Maybe he thought, this will be a fun power I might use later. At best. That's as most as I'll give him credit for this, but he even said that the fact that in the manga we get this scratched out line blocking out Zangetsu's name at the beginning, who we now know as Yuha, but he's Zangetsu, whatever. And a fan asked him and said, was that Ichibe blocking the name, like, because he controls all names? And Kubo said, yeah. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Because now this is also implies that maybe he was going to say, "It's me, Yuha." You know, he might have not, because once again, that's the Quincy side of him. When he lost his Soul Reaper powers from Rukia, this might have been Yuha trying to wake up the Quincy of Ichigo, and it was blocked out. And then he recognized, okay, you still can't hear my name. And then he went on the Soul Reaper thing. I've seen that theory. I love that theory. I really like that idea. Is that he wasn't trying to say Zangetsu. He was trying to say, I'm the Quincy, I'm the Yuha. That I always like that too. So, but all that being said, we get that entire sequence. Yuha ends up basically winning the day. Winning, the title of the episode is the Almighty. So there you go. He gets his almighty powers. He opens his eyes. Nothing can be done about it. He blows up Ichibei. Ichigo and Ko arrive, and he says, "Say my name, Ichigo. My name, Ichibei." Boom. And he wakes up and stuff and says, "Look, Squad Zero has lost. I was able to reform my body with a tiny bit of your power by saying my name, but I'm not gonna be able to heal everyone up in time, and I'm certainly not gonna get all my power back to try 2.0. Let's do this again." Ichibei seems like he was willing to take another go at it. Like, if I could restore myself to full strength right now, I'd go after that brat once again. But obviously, that's not happening. So, Ichigo, I need you to go up there, and try to stop him from killing the Soul King. But at the very end of the episode, stabby, and Yuha ends up stabbing the Soul King, who is, of course, no legs, no arms, encased in a chrysalid of a crystal of some description, and he stabs him right through and says, "Your time is at an end, my father." Dun dun dun, and end of episode 27. Lot of shit goes down there with only half an episode almost dedicated to the end of the last episode, but there was still a lot to cover, a lot to talk about, and I didn't want to miss out on anything. I really didn't. So that's my cover of episode 27. So once again, did you like the new opening? Did you prefer the new ending? Did you like the fact that they basically spent the first third of the episode recapping the end of last season? I didn't mind it personally because, as I said, if we're already at the end of Chapter 6, Volume 67, meaning we're starting Volume 68 at the beginning of Season 3, and apparently there's 4 cores to this, yeah, don't worry about pacing. Don't worry about it. We are well on track. This will be fine. So, I do have that question to you guys. Are you worried about that? Did you love the animation? Did you, for some reason, not like the way it was handled? Did you want something different to happen? Were you expecting more filler scenes with Squad Zero or something like that? We got as much as I expected. We got more than I actually expected going into this from Squad Zero. Squad Zero, in my opinion, got the level of respect and showcased their own downfall by their own hubris in this episode. So that works for me. Squad Zero slander is now back to neutral, in my opinion, as a big Bleach fan. So, is what it is. But what did you guys think? Let me know down in the comment section down below. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And we will be back here with episode 28. Looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I don't know when the dub release is coming out. I was waiting a couple of days here before reviewing this episode. I did watch it subbed when I found out it was out and didn't want to be spoiled just in case. I'm glad I watched the sub. I have no problem with the sub. But where the dub was basically being released, a couple days later, I was waiting for it, hoping, to get it, because, of course, it's one of my favorite dubs of anime of all time. I love the Bleach dubcast. So I was sort of holding out for that. I definitely will be rewatching it in dub format, but if anybody has a release date for when the dub episodes are supposed to be coming out, whether on Disney Plus, whether just in general, wherever the streaming service is, let me know, please, and thank you down in the comments. So, that being said, that's it. Episode 28 review will be out, a couple days after episode 28 comes out. So, stay tuned for that. I'll, of course, be reviewing all the episodes of this season, like I did for the previous 2 seasons. So, hope you guys enjoyed. See you next time. Sayonara.